These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Monday, June 24th. Off-season officially. Now the parade is done. Celtics championship tour, I guess, is still kind of going on. There's an event at Gillette today, but
it'll be going.
It feels like we're entering the off-season. We're doing our draft videos. Make sure to check those out on the channel. We've done 5 already by the time you're listening to this, and there'll be more out later today probably, depending on our recording schedule, etc. But plenty of draft coverage here. We're moving swiftly on. We'll still talk about the title because we got to, they just won a championship, so it's going to be a topic of discussion for a while. But the draft is here. This video / podcast is titled 2024 NBA Draft Prospects Tier List. We're going to look at the top prospects. Obviously, we start with Celtic stuff here because it's the Celtic channel. So if you'd like that, there's timestamps in the description on YouTube. And then for audio listeners, it'll probably be around 20 to 30 minutes into the show. You can skip ahead and listen to that. I'll try to put a timestamp in post so you guys can see it in Spotify, but it's a bit harder because I don't know how long the ads will be on Spotify versus YouTube. So it's awkward from that perspective. But regardless, that'll be at the start of our NBA section, which if you're a listener of the show is after all the Celtic stuff. And if you're not, it's after all the Celtic stuff. So you can skip ahead to there if you came here for the tier list, because that will be the plan. But Sam, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good. We have a fun show. We have the draft this week, which is becoming increasingly exciting every time we do deep dives or we watch other people do deep dives into these prospects. It's fun because you go in and you're like, oh, I actually have some rooting interest in this with the Celtics. Like, I want them to pick this guy. I think this guy is interesting. And Tyler taught us a lot of good stuff. So if you missed out on that one, go back and watch it. It'll be pretty valid through Wednesday, probably even into Thursday's second round. So go check it out. Great content there. But today we have good content too. We have some Celtics updates, some housekeeping stuff, and of course the draft review, and then various NBA rumors, news, and then the rat list. Be a good show.
Everything. A lot of stuff. Let's start with the housekeeping Celtics stuff that Sam mentioned. First up, Oshae Brissett officially declined his player option. Will be an unrestricted free agent this summer. It makes some sense. I'm a little surprised. I thought it was really 50-50 because it doesn't feel like he's going to get a bigger deal than a minimum on the open market, but maybe he'd rather go to a place he can play now that he won a title. But it does seem like he enjoys time in Boston. So maybe there's another deal they can work out. No Oshae Brissett will be back with the Celtics. At the same time, though, if there's another team out there that liked what they saw and is willing to take a chance on him, give him a bit more playing time, it wouldn't surprise me if he'd rather go there as well and play a little bit more next year. So love Oshae. He was great. He was a fun guy. The vlogs were electric during the time with the Celtics. It was fun to have that sort of insight. But declined his player option, will be an unrestricted free agent this summer.
And it also doesn't mean he's leaving per se.
No.
Mass Live did a write-up about this when it happened. Brian Robb put it together, and he had some interesting takes, analysis in there where he was like, listen, this also could be like a opt-out and then re-sign the vet minimum, which will increase so you get a little bit more money. There's the Celtics can bring him back without bird rights. Like there's a few different reasons for this and why it would work for him to opt out and come back. And when you think about Brissett and his value, like he didn't have an incredible season with the Celtics. Like didn't play a lot. Tough to get in a rhythm when you don't play a lot. His percentages were kind of low. He did have very positive things he brought to the table every time he got in the game. He brought in really good energy. You saw him turn game 2 of the conference finals on its head when he played against the Pacers, had a really impactful run. But overall, it's not the kind of thing where other teams are going to be out there being like, what if we paid him $5 to $10 million? Like, I don't think anybody's going to be trying to open up the checkbook and overpay for Oshae at this point. So there's still hope for him to come back to the Celtics. And by all accounts, like he's somebody that gets along with everybody. The team likes him and he enjoyed being here. Obviously, he won the championship, so can't hate it too much.
Definitely. I mean, like I said, love Oshae. He was fun. It's great to have him around. I don't know if he'll be back. There's a chance he will be, but we'll just have to wait and see. But shout out Oshae. Next thing, Sam Cassell is moving up on the Celtics bench. Charles Lee was the head assistant last year, but he's obviously going to be the head coach of the Charlotte Hornets. And so now Sam Cassell will take that top assistant coaching spot. This seemed like very obvious to me, but good for Sam Cassell. Happy. And it'll be fun to see him on the top of the bench.
Yeah, and it's fun for all of us too because we don't have the rumors of him going to join another coaching staff because they're going to offer him a better position. The only better position he can have now is to be an actual head coach of a team, which undoubtedly he was going to want to do down the line when the opportunities arise. But right now, it doesn't sound like he's a candidate for any of these jobs. He was tied to the Lakers job a little bit. That fizzled out because that became an absolute shitstorm over there with the Hurley rumors and then Shams and Woj having beef over it. And they eventually hired JJ, who has blessed us with tons of this guy can be a coach now because he has a podcast memes. And then the Bucks job that Darvin Ham got was also a eyeball type thing because it was like, oh, he coached on Doc staffs before. Like it would make sense for them to reunite. But no, he's going to stay in Boston. It's really good because any continuity you can have within the coaching staff is going to be helpful. You saw how much better Joe Mazzulla got this season with the extra experience, but also with Cassell and Charles Lee being right by his side. So having Cassell there is going to be nothing but positive. Hopefully, whichever internal coach they promote to be in Cassell's old seat will also be a great hire. Which, I mean, Jack, you know this more than anybody. You're the person to discuss this with. Like, they have so many great candidates on the bench.
Yeah, the Celtics player development staff, which you would assume is going to be the group that they pick from if they do promote internally, has some phenomenal coaches on it. I did the series of articles on the 5 main guys. I didn't do one on Alex Merg, but he's also a great coach. He's there helping out. Phil Pressey, Jermaine Buckner, Tyler Lashford, Ross McMains, and Craig Lucian. Yeah, sorry, I blanked for half a second. All phenomenal coaches. If I had to guess, I think Ross or Craig, I think would probably get the next step up. Tyler just came over from Philly, so maybe you'd want somebody who's been with the organization a little bit longer. Craig has the tenure. I think this is everybody else's first season with the team, the Boston Celtics, but this is his second, so it would make sense for him to get the bump up. Ross was with Maine for a year and then came to Boston immediately, and has this like incredible perspective from around the world. So I don't know. I think Ross or Craig, both are awesome. Craig's my guy. I love Craig. But we'll see. I think they should definitely look to promote internally. Those guys are incredible.
Yeah. I mean, everything you've told me about Ross, the absolute man, he's due to be a huge name down the line in the coaching space. So it makes a ton of sense for him to be the guy. If I was betting on it, I would bet for him. But then you have like the question of, okay, who are they going to bring in to slide in on the bench? And that's where it becomes a little interesting. Mm-hmm. Not that, we don't have the free agent coaching pool in front of us where you can be like, what if they got this guy? But it's something, if you're really into all this stuff, to keep your eyes on as the summer rolls along, because they're going to have to replace some guys. Blaine Miller is also leaving with Charles Lee to go coach in Charlotte. So they're going to need somebody else coaching the G League squad too.
Yeah. We'll see. If I had to guess, I think one of these player dev guys gets to coach the summer league team, which will be fun for me because I know them all, so I'll get to say what's up when they're out there. But I'm excited. The Celtics have a phenomenal coaching staff. Moving on to the draft, Celtics are reportedly open to trading the 30th pick for Michael Scotto. This is the least Michael Scotto Hoop Type, the least surprising rumor you'll ever hear in your life. And I'm not even going to put so much stock into it in terms of like they might trade, because one, we all knew they might trade it, and two, every team in this year's draft is looking to trade. I saw a report today from Kevin O'Connor that the Hawks at 1, the Wizards at 2, and the Rockets at 3 have all listened to trade offers. That's just this year's draft. And so
I think that's every year.
No,
I'm going to start reporting that every year. Well, actually, maybe not last year.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think the Pelicans were listening when Zion. I don't think the Cavs were listening when LeBron. The point is, like, there's no guarantees this year. And so trading out of the top 3, like, is more prevalent than ever, and the top first round. Like, so I'd take this with a grain of salt.
And plus, if you're the Celtics, there's great reason to do it for financial causes, right? Like, you don't want to have that guaranteed. What is the years on this? 2 years guaranteed, 2 years team option on the rookie contract. If they're picked in the first round, second round is a little different. It becomes non-guaranteed. So you can kind of be flexible, play with the cap game a little bit. It would make a ton of sense. And the only thing that sucks about it this year is that the rounds are on 2 different days. So now you're going to like watch all of round 1 have to wait till the very end, and it's going to be like, hey, the Celtics actually aren't picking. So it'll be like 11 at night by the time we find out. We'll be like, oh, fuck, no, they're not they're not going to draft anybody. And we did all these draft videos about guys like around that 30 spot, guys that have been mocked at 30. And it's just going to be like, hey, actually, none of them are going to be picked. But there will still be exciting guys. And this year, like you mentioned, is such an up and down, don't know what you're going to get draft where you're probably going to get just about who you thought you would get if you trade back. So they'll be fine.
Yeah. There's so much variety. There's so much like no one knows what's going to happen that like trading from trading from 30 to 40, like you're going to get a guy you want. Like there's almost no point in having the 30th pick. As much as you don't want to hear that from somebody who's hoping they don't trade it, it would be objectively smarter just to trade back into the middle of the second round, grab somebody you probably have in that same tier of whatever, and rock there because it's a cheaper contract. So as much as Celtics fans might not want to hear that, if there's ever a year to trade back, this is the year to trade back.
The good thing about this, though, the exciting thing about this year's draft, from a Celtics perspective, they're going to have all their money tied up in their top guys for years. So even if they're picking someone who you don't know who it is or you don't think they're going to play, it's somebody you have to keep your eyes on down the line, somebody to watch up in Maine, because whoever it is, it feels like they are going to have to play a key role in Boston's rotation in a year or two. Just with the way that signing fringe guys is going to go, like, these picks are more important than you would think. Luckily, Brad Stevens has a billion second-round picks down the line here to allow him to continue to be flexible, continue to have like all these guys coming in to be looked at, to be through the organization, to potentially be developed. And they have like almost like a free agent pool within their own system, if that makes sense, because of the influx of second rounders they'll have year after year.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's, like I said, smart to trade down. As much as that's probably going to make frustrating couple days for us as we're trying to wait and figure it out. But anyways, let's go to the email here, see what y'all have to say. A reminder, as always, you can email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com. We like to hear your thoughts. We read them on every show on our Tuesday, Thursday, and Sundays. And so we're going to check these out. We have six emails today. First up from RJ. This space for rent. I look back at the 30th and 54th picks. Oh, baby. Afternoon, folks. Thought I'd glance through some draft history and preparation for Adam Silver 2-night shindig. Below is the list of players picked at each year since the Celtics' last title of the year. Players in italics never played in the NBA. 2023 was Kobe Brown and Jalen Slauson, Peyton Watson and Yannick Nzosa. Peyton Watson, notable. Santi Aldama, Sandro Mamukelashvili, Desmond Bane, Cassius Stanley, Kevin Porter, Mariel Shayok, main Celtics legends, Mari Spellman, Shake Milton, Josh Hart, Alec Peters, Damian Jones, Kay Felder, Kevon Looney, Danny Diaz, Kyle Anderson, that guy, Nemanja Nedovic, that guy, Festus Ezeli. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not pronouncing these names. Tornike Shengelia, Jimmy Butler, Milan, Lazar Hayward, Willie Warren, Christian Ayenga, Robert Vaden, J.R. Giddens, Marty Lunin. I'm shocked at how successful the 30th pick has been.
It's not bad. It's probably because these teams, when you get drafted, well, it's not always the team with the best record has the last pick because it could have been traded. But oftentimes these guys are coming into situations where they're not being asked to do too much. They're given time to develop. They're not rushed. They're not put under a ton of pressure. And they have opportunities to play up with the G League or whatever. And it's not a rushed process. Like, that's so important. Somebody like Peyton Watson, he didn't have a ton of burn in that first season with Denver. This season, he was asked to do far more because they got rid of the fringe guys. Bruce Brown was no more, and Jeff Green was no more. So him and Christian Brown had to step up and play more minutes, and they both did a decent job at it. Now, obviously, they weren't that great because Denver had the wheels come off a little sooner than everyone expected, but nonetheless, Denver was still a unit of a team. Some of these guys just happen to take time to develop. Someone like Josh Hart, it took him like 3 teams before it really became like, oh, wow, yeah, we like Josh Hart. So
yeah,
with the Celtics, You just got to be patient. Got to make sure that you develop these guys, don't rush them. And just the gut feeling I have on the Celtics right now with their young guys, it feels like they are doing a really good job. Whatever Brad Stevens has done, his mindset, his process has worked for getting these guys, the fringe guys, the end of bench guys, the appropriate development, and shout out to the development staff, like you talked about, for getting them ready to play. Sam Hauser,
Yes.
Luke Cornett, those guys have been fantastic. Even Nemi, when he's gotten into games this season, he's not a draft pick, but he's somebody that was brought in to play very minimal minutes. He was fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think whoever they take with 30th pick isn't going to play. So it might not be the exact same as a Jimmy Butler, where you're probably going to get some run, or a some of the other guys on this list where you might get some extra run, like Desmond Bane and Santi Aldama. They both got run right away because of the team that they were on. So I think it'll just depend, but I suppose we'll see. But this gives you some hope that there'll definitely be talent there. Archer says there have been a couple of good hits. Number 30, Jimmy Butler, Josh Hart, Kevon Looney, Desmond Bane. Shake Milton has been the only good one, or the only one to have much of a career after being drafted 6 spots from the bottom. Hold out hope for Santi and Saldo. The class of 2021 having the best combined career path. Odd draft review: only 6 first-round picks since 2008 have played 1 year or less in the league. 6 first-round picks since 2008. One is Chet Holmgren. 2 of the other 5 were drafted by the Celtics: Jawan Johnson and Fab Melo. Be well, RJ. Damn, it's tough. Thank you, RJ. Next email. Philip from Portugal with love. Fellas, it was hard to leave Massachusetts right after we won, but I found myself in Portugal at the start of the European Cup for a family vacation. There are Ronaldo jerseys everywhere, but you might be surprised to know that as I walk around or sit in plazas with my Celtics gear, I have locals come up to me and say, "We did it." I had no idea people watch ball here. I think maybe Keita has created an ally for us.
Yes.
They seem genuinely pumped, smiling and dabbing me up. It was a beautiful thing. Thank you, Portugal friends, and thank you both for the huge amount of content in Wake of 18. I want to steep in the joy as long as I can. All the best, Phil. Shout out Portugal, man. The Nemi,
It's good
they are Nemi.
They got themselves an NBA champion, first one ever, Nemi. I mean, he was the first one to ever play from there, but good for Nemi. I'm happy that people in Portugal have followed along. I know there's been some good coverage over there of Nemi and following him, so the Celtics updates have been plentiful for those on Portuguese Twitter, right? Very happy to see the Celtics making their presence known in Portugal for Philip. That's
great.
For sure.
Shout out.
Also, thanks for emailing us on vacation.
Yeah, beast. Watching hashtag Latvian, hashtag Midsummer Night, hashtag Ferns, hashtag Flowers on YouTube from Pete. Hey, fellas, while you're looking at things to say this summer, here's a good one. This guy's gotten fairly popular, or at least among the Latvian and Latvian adjacent crowd. The holiday he mentions is Yanni, our ancient pagan solstice festival. I celebrated that just yesterday with our crowd. I smoked 4 10-pound pork butts for it. Wow. That looks incredible.
Looks like he's charging his meat. It's like a phone charger in the pork.
Pete goes, "Be well, RJ." That stuck in my head as the only possible sign off. Pete. I want to see what this YouTube video is. Hopefully we don't get demonetized.
Is it just how to...
An ancient Latvian legend says that ferns are magical plant that blossoms for a very short period of time on the shortest night of the year, Jāņi, producing a very beautiful and very magical flower that makes everyone who sees it very, very happy. Of course, anyone who has learned basic biology
doesn't look thrilled.
knows that ferns
looks like a
don't
very
blossom,
angry guy.
they reproduce by spores. Therefore, when somebody on Jāņi night invites you on a quest to find a magic fern blossom, they much more likely have something very different in mind. It's sex.
Okay, he's funny. I enjoy. Thanks, Pete. Appreciate
Pete.
you. Back to email. Next thing we've got, excuse me, is from RJ. Thinking like a GM. Afternoon, folks. Time to put on the thinking cap with Oshae Brissett opting for free agency, and he could be back, but who knows? Let's play a game of what are the main priorities, or what are my priorities as a Celtics GM? Michael Spooner of Celtics Blog, who I've just recently learned is Spoonie, wrote a great article on this, and I agree with much of the piece, but where he had the first item of business being, quote, extend Tatum and White contracts. Mine has to be, quote, structure the Celtics roster for the best opportunity to win banner 19 and 24-25. That's why what keeps Wick writing those second apron checks. To that end, the first order of business is that the C's must re-sign Cornette and Tillman. I disagree with you. I think they should extend White and Tatum first, but we'll keep reading. No, I'm not predicting they will be monsters in next year's playoffs, but they will allow the Celtics to keep piling up regular season wins while Al gets his scheduled rest and KP recovers from surgery, then deals with whatever rare injury he encounters. Scurvy, maybe? I don't know. As much as I love the possibility of Kata developing into a solid contributor, there's no way anyone can realistically project him going from a diet of 333 regular season minutes to 1350. By having all three of them on board, it takes the pressure off of each of them to be more than they contribute as they refine and hopefully expand their skills. Signing both of them also addresses the reality of Father Time. Al Horford will retire one day, possibly as early as the end of the 25 season. Having all four of Cornette, Kata, Porzingis, and Tillman gives the Celtics the best chance of continuing to win while they look for a center who is on par with Al in terms of talent and durability. Third priority is to continue to look for who Drew Holiday's successor is in 3 years. That player won't leap into the lineup this year, but the Celtics need to start developing them or continue to, if you think Springer or possibly Walsh. I know lots of people are mentioning
a little bit.
Well, I know lots of people are mentioning ring chasing bets, and we may turn to one, but I'd much rather see the C's find and develop a long-term solution while time is on their side. Be well, RJ, and a Cubs fan who is still pissed at how they didn't capitalize on their 2016 championship. Jesus.
The Horford thing is just scary to me. He's not going anywhere right now, but with Porzingis having this surgery and the injury being rare and some of the stuff that's come out around it, not massive stuff, just like the Twitter doctors being like, who knows if he'll be the same, which is an easy thing to say when someone has surgery.
Yeah. Oh, you froze. I thought you were done. The pauses kill me. But yeah. I like Tillman and Cornette. I like to keep them around. I like Kata too. I think keeping that trio was good. It just worries me having three bigs on the team at the same time. I don't know about Springer. I like Springer. I like Jordan Walsh more than Springer. Welcome back, Sam. If you'd like to continue your point, you can. I was filibustering.
They just have like a lot of fringe things they need to get right now. And I trust them, but this is like why the draft is so fun, because you could find your next Al in the draft. They won't be ready right away, but you could find them.
Well, this is also why I talked about guards when we were talking with Tyler Rucker. Like, I think getting a guard wouldn't be the worst idea too, because they take longer to develop, but the upside is clearly there with some of these guys in this draft.
It's true. Like, I don't want to downplay it because, I mean, you obviously do need it down the line, but it feels like Pritchard and Springer are two guys they have some belief in. I don't think they go and trade for Springer if they don't feel that way a little bit.
Yes, but my thing is, if you feel that for the guard position, don't you equally feel like they also have Kata and Tillman? You know what I'm saying? Like, they have just as many bigs as they do guards. If not, they have more bigs than they have guards. I think they have more big depth than guard depth right now, as crazy as it is to say. It may not be the perfect thing because you can see the impending window of Al Horford's career ending sooner, but he's only 4 years older than Drew, and guards retire sooner than bigs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I don't know. I don't think it's as far off.
It's probably a dual need.
Anyways, next email is from RJ again, another player source. Afternoon, folks. I'm kind of ashamed for not thinking of this sooner. Given how much I love the end of the bench guys, let's take a peek at who might be elevated from the main Celtics to the big club for the chase for banner 19. Excuse me. Obviously, there's the possibility that JD and Drew stick around either on two ways, most likely, or full contracts. The other two-way candidates include 27-year-old 7-footer Kyler Kelly, 2.9 blocks per game in Maine, 26-year-old Brandon Slater, 36% on threes, 25-year-old Joe Wieskamp, 6'6", 37% on threes, and DJ Stewart, 23-year-old 6'2" guard from Duke, who was another 36% guy from long distance and averaged 19.4 a game. If Luke Cornette signs elsewhere, I wouldn't be surprised to see Kelly get a two-way sheet. If neither Svi nor Oshae return, I hope the Celtics will consider elevating Tony Snell to the 14th or 15th spot on a full contract. 10-year NBA vet boasts a near 40% success rate on threes and provide a scoring boost off the bench. While others are looking for a ring, Tony is still looking to get a lifetime health insurance benefit for he and his family. Motivated family guys seem to be part of the new Celtics, so he seems like a great fit on that front. Here's hoping the C's promote from within for more than just the coaching staff. Be well, RJ, and always a fan of overachieving underdog. I don't think any of this will happen. I would love to see Tony Snell elevated. I think Kyler Kelly's a fine player.
I like Kelly.
I don't know, though.
I don't know if I like him. I don't know if I like. but he's fine. Like, he's exciting. He does block shots really well. I feel like he's a little bit too skinny. Like, he probably won't do well in the big league because he's going to get outpowered underneath the basket. Snell, I feel like there's a reason why no one picked him up, even with like that storyline looming and like a great opportunity to like do a nice thing. Even like some of these shit teams that really, who cares if they sign him or not? I don't know if the Celtics will be the spot for him, but it's not crazy. I don't know who my favorite of the bunch from Maine would be to come up. Maybe it is Kelly, but
Probably, in my opinion, I don't think any of them. Like, with all due respect, I just
if you had to
don't think, like,
pick,
if I had to pick,
that's like the sense I'm talking in.
If I had to pick,
Jack hates these guys.
well, it's just like you don't really see the future with any of them. Kyler Kelly's already 27 years old.
Correct.
He played well, but they have Cornette, they have Tillman, they have Kata, all of whom would probably get chances over him. Brandon Slater, 36% on threes, but I know he wasn't a good 3-point shooter coming into this, and he's already 26. Like, he's got a big body and he's athletic, but it just doesn't seem like he's going to get to the level, and nor is he going to have the opportunities. Joe Wieskamp might be a leader in the clubhouse for me because you can see the mold of a Sam Hauser there, and I know he was an elite 3-point shooter in the G League before coming to Boston. DJ Stewart maybe because they seem to like him. He's 23, but he's just a complete liability defensively, and so I don't know if that's going to be it. Like, it just, none of these guys seem like the types of guys who can elevate. Tony Snell probably is the leader in the clubhouse to be the 15th guy. Like, none of them speak to me like that.
Tell you what, from the one G League game I watched, the championship game, actually I watched a couple leading up to it for what it's worth, but the one I was at, DJ Stewart loves a jump pass, leave your feet pass, loves it, favorite thing ever. They just kept turning the ball over just because they kept jumping too soon. But
yeah. Cool. Thanks, RJ. Next email from Philip. Celtics Tales from Portugal's part 2. Yes. Fellas, happy St. John Day. Am I right? Well, last night was St. John's Festival in Porto, Portugal, and it was a riot. Hundreds of thousands of people flood the evening streets to eat grilled sardines, exchange potted basil plants, send flaming balloons into the sky, light fireworks, party until dawn, and of course, bash strangers with plastic hammers. A little context for the story: the hammers don't hurt. See below. And the average Portuguese man is 5'7". Let's see. I see. They're like the toy hammers.
I see, yeah.
Around 2 a.m., my group was calling it quits, and we walked home past the college area of Porto. My rascal middle son saw his white whale hammer opportunity. 3 college men, each sized 6'4" to 6'6", giants among the Portuguese. He ran up, jumped, and whacked one with the hammer. As the young guys turned around to see him, I was already saying, "I am sorry" in English. And when they saw he was wearing a Celtics hat, one guy immediately said, "Go Celtics," and asked if I was from the States. I told him I was from Massachusetts and a diehard Celtics fan. "So you know Nemish," he said, pronouncing it Nemish. Okay. Of course.
Okay.
The guy's a beast, I told him. "That's a friend of mine," he replied proudly. Taking it on face value, I smiled and said something like, "Wow, that's amazing. He seems like a really cool guy." I smiled, went to stern seriousness as he raised a single finger of his beer clutching hand and said, "That dude is cool, but he is mean as fuck." I said something about us needing a bruiser. We pounded fists and parted ways. As I left, I wondered if he was telling the truth. It did seem possible because these guys look like ballers, athletic and tall, and it seemed weird to lie to a stranger in front of his friends. Assuming it was true, I thought about Nemish being a mean as fuck bruiser, and the thought made me happy. If he continues to develop, we could really use someone like that with an edge, whose friends think he is mean as fuck. Side note, I saw Paul Pierce jersey too and yelled "the truth" across the crowd to have the guy turn around and salute me. Celtics are global, baby. All the best, Phil.
Nice, Phil.
Shout out. Yeah, good for Nemish. I haven't talked to Nemi much, but we had one conversation in Dallas, him and Terp, and we just talked about like the cities they were in. And spoiler alert, he didn't like Indy and Cleveland, and that's my only interaction with Kata. Great. Thank you, Philip. We appreciate you. Shout out Nemi. We'll see if he's back around next quarter. All right.
Show you guys for sending all the emails today.
Yeah.
God knows we needed it.
But hey, look at me. I told you we were going to get to the NBA section and the draft stuff around 30 minutes in. Goddamn, I'm good. 29 minutes in. We're getting to the draft here. Shout out No Sleepers Media. They are the ones who do the ceiling and floor for each of them, and they discuss. We're going to look at that, and we're going to look at Kevin O'Connor's draft guide. I have pulled up a bunch of their videos. We can look at each prospect, read up a little bit. I can find highlights if you want a little extra stuff, and we can put them all in a tier list. And then by the end, we'll have the official HBTC idiots 2024 NBA draft tier list, and we'll rock with that.
Okay.
So, let's just go down Kevin O'Connor's draft board, put them all in, and I'm going to stress here. Obviously, there's going to be a part of it where we're going to be affected by the opinions of these people. Like maybe Kevin O'Connor is high on somebody, and Sleepers Media is also high on somebody. I'll pull up No Ceilings NBA too, just because Tyler Rucker is the man and we love him, and so I'm going to pull up their draft board too. I want to try to stay, at least me personally, as objective as possible, even though that might be impossible because we are literally looking at the opinions of others. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to just go off face value and say, oh yeah, let's just copy paste this into a tier list ourselves. Like I'm going to try to like be a little bit more objective as much as you can be when you don't watch as much. But we'll start with Stephon Cassell out of UConn, who Kevin O'Connor ranks number 1 on his big board, compares him to Andre Iguodala. I need to refresh here because I can't expand. Said he's got that dog in him. Okay, can I just not? I can't
not letting you expand it?
No, it does this every once in a while. Okay, 1 second. It does this on the first one I click every time. I can expand Donovan Clingan, but I can't expand Stephon Cassell. Whatever. Stephon Cassell is the first guy. I'm going to pull up
Played at
Sleepers
UConn,
thing on
versatile defensive guard, known for his defense. He was a big part of the national championship run. And I remember right after the college basketball season, I think like people were talking about him like 7-8 range. And now he has climbed all the way up Kevin O'Connor's big board to number 1. So that says a good amount, but it also might not say anything because Kevin O'Connor had Killian Hayes at the top of his draft board way back.
He did have Killian Hayes. For what it's worth, No Ceilings this was their June 5th draft board. They haven't put out a new one. I think their new one's coming out soon. But in June 5th, they had him second, so they are also very high on him. And No Sleepers, spoiler alert, their best case is pretty good, as Jimmy Butler here. So not a bad person to be best case scenario too. We'll skip through. We don't have to listen to all these, but we'll skip through just to see each of their opinions. Dwayne Wade is best case. So Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Wade versus Justice Winslow and Evan Turner.
I like Evan Turner.
That's not a bad range.
I loved Evan Turner when he was here. He was a great Celtic. He shot the mid range. I fuck with Evan Turner.
I like Evan Turner too. Can I find? I'll throw on a couple of his scouting highlights while I grab a picture to put him in a tier list. But I like Stephon Cassell. I think he's a damn good player. I think the fact that he is a above average defender and a good athlete makes him one of the better guys, because I think there's a lot of good defenders at the top of this draft. I know there are some things like he wasn't necessarily a point guard at UConn, but he wants to play that role in the NBA, and I think he's capable of it. He's obviously a good finisher at the rim. I was listening to the No Ceilings NBA draft show, and they said like he was a non-defender in high school. Like he was just horrendous, like a negative defender, and now he's turned into, oh my God, this guy's incredible on defense. So like if you want to look at that from the perspective of is it a fluky or it's dangerous, but I think it's more important to look at that perspective of like he's still improving and he's trying to improve. So
it's hard because it's hard for me to. So I don't disagree with that notion. Like the first thing I thought, I was like, well, that's weird. Is this like a Cinderella Linsanity defense run? But then I was like, well, defense doesn't exactly get easier as you move up the ranks. When you go to play college basketball, it doesn't exactly get easier than it is in high school. It's not shooting jump shots. It's not like a hot, cold thing. It was clearly an effort, dedicated decision for him to learn defense, get better at defense, get better at reads, strengthen his legs, whatever it took. So that's a very good thing. It says a lot about his work ethic. In watching these highlights, I see a lot of actually Donovan Mitchell in him. His game looks really similar, so I guess you could point at D Wade as that too, because a lot of people love that comp. But overall, I think it's a good pick. Like, maybe not for Atlanta. I don't really know what they want to do because they've got guards and it doesn't sound like they know if they want to keep guards.
Well, we can just do like our favorite prospects. It doesn't have to be like for Atlanta. Like this isn't a mock draft. It's like it's a big board. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make the tier list, and I'm trying to oh my God, every image I click on is a WebP file, not a JPG.
I hate that. I hate the
oh my God, Jesus Christ.
When did that
All right.
become a thing? I think that's like relatively new
It
because I
pisses me
wasn't
off.
seeing any web Ps like 5 years ago.
It's very annoying. I'm trying to make the I have to download a certain number of images before you can make the tier list, so I'm just downloading a couple more, so I can like make it, and then we can add as we go. But bear with me here.
I think athleticism and defense is a really good place to start in a
Yeah,
draft because in today's NBA, you really aren't going to be successful as a team if you have a guard that's not playing defense. It's just not. I mean, maybe you're a competitive regular season team. Maybe you're a team that, goes on fun win streaks. They're very high powered on offense. A team like the Hawks. So if you get into a playoff series and you have a small guard that's going to get eaten up on defense, it's not going to go well for you. Even Dallas, right? With like Kyrie, the whole thing around him throughout the playoffs was, oh my God, he's so engaged on defense. Like he's working so hard. Like in order for Dallas to go on the run that they went on, he had to be playing such great defense by his standards for people to be talking about it.
Yeah. I like Cassell. I'm trying to create this stupid fucking HPTC 2024 NBA draft tier list. This tier list. It's just not letting me. So this is fun. I think he's probably A tier for me. I don't think he's S tier. I'm not gonna do the same shit where I do only one. Remember when we were doing grades and I was like, only one A plus. I'm not gonna do that, but I do think there are players in this draft that I like slightly better than Cassell. I'm just gonna fill in the description randomly so I can create this tier list because it's pissing me off now. Okay, here we go.
Your ability to multitask is very impressive, though. I'm not busting your balls. Like I'm
frustrating.
Serious. Like, you know me. I'm like I'll like try and tweet something during the show, and I'm just like
you zone out and I have to talk by myself for 2 minutes. I would go A. I wouldn't complain if you wanted to put him S because I do really like Stephon Cassell. I think he's a top 3 player in this class.
I think A is fair, and I think A is fair because it feels like if you pick him, you won't be disappointed. But I find it difficult to believe he's going to be like Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, it's a lot. But then again, like, what is S tier in this class? Like, I don't think you can expect anybody.
There might not be an S tier guy in this class.
So we'll put him at A, and then we'll move him up to S because I think having 3 S tier is like a good the top 3 in the draft, whatever. So we can leave room to move him up.
I know who your S tier is going to be, Jack.
Well, I've only spat around him for the past months. Donovan Clingan, shades of Rudy Gobert and Marc Gasol. What'd you say?
You heard me.
I did not actually.
The video. You spat around him. There you
go. Rudy Gobert, Marc Gasol, 7-2 at UConn. Obviously won 2 national championships with them. He's been moving up draft boards a lot lately. Big rebounder. I'm not going to read all this. Go read
The Ringer,
Kevin O'Connor's thing. Donovan Clingan, 3rd on No Ceilings. I'll pull up Sleepers Media's comps for him as well, and then I can pull up some highlights. 2 UConn guys sitting at the top of this draft is unsurprising considering how good they've been. Donovan Clingan is giant. He's a beast, and he's probably going to be one of the best shot blockers / defenders in this draft. So, I mean, that like you said with Cassell, yes, that's a pretty good place to start when you are creating a prospect.
It is. I question his athleticism and strength a little bit. He is 282. Like he's not a lightweight by any means. I don't know if he has an NBA body. I don't know if
7'2".
he's ever no, but like physically, like in terms of like massive strength. I don't know. He might like have like baby fat on him is really what I'm saying. Because he doesn't look like super imposing when you watch these like UConn highlights. Like he looks like a giant, but he doesn't look like he's like Shaq dominating people, which is a very rare thing. The defensive side of the ball is going to make him playable right away. I'm not sure how well he's going to be able to switch out on pick and rolls and stuff. I think you're going to have to really cross your fingers if you want him to become a great 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
The free throw percentage really isn't there. But who knows? I'm sure like he's shooting up these draft boards for a reason.
Yeah, so No Sleepers has best case as Walker Kessler and or Rudy Gobert. Worst case as Zach Collins and or and or where's the other one? Are they both pick Zach Collins? I think they both pick Zach Collins. Okay, no. So one has Walker Kessler as best case, one has his as worst case. So I think that's telling you something. We can throw on some of these highlights here. I really like Donovan Clingan. I think he's a good player. I think he's the type of guy that you can throw down low and expect him to be a bit more versatile than a Rudy Gobert. Like I think his passing is not bad. I think obviously he's the defensive monster. If you're going to get compared to Rudy Gobert, you're going to be pretty damn good on that end of the floor. I don't think the NBA body thing is something I worry about. Like he doesn't look giant, like in terms of the baby fat thing you mentioned. I can understand
He looks awkward,
Yeah, I can understand that from a perspective of like what's it called? Lateral quickness, like on the perimeter. But I also don't think as much as the NBA is becoming more and more versatile, I also think you're seeing a almost rise of big men who don't necessarily need to do that as much. Like Jokic isn't out there on the perimeter, busting ass and staying with guards. Joel Embiid's not
also
doing
the best
it.
player in the world.
Well, I know, but like he's not doing that. Embiid's not doing that. Rudy Gobert isn't doing that, and he's just one defensive player of the year. Walker Kessler's not doing that. He's a fine NBA role player. You know what I'm saying?
I think Rudy's gotten better to his credit.
They put Porzingis in drop all the time. He's not on the perimeter. He can do it, but they don't want him to do it. So I do think there is a fine place for guys like this. And if you have upside like people think Clingan has, then I think it makes sense. He's also just fucking huge. He's huge. He has a 9'7" standing reach, I'm pretty sure. It's insane.
I don't think he's a bad pick. I think he's a safe pick. I don't think he's like, I feel like he's like exactly as the no sleepers guys kind of put it. Like the floor is pretty high. Like Walker Kessler's a very solid player, but I mean, I know Rudy's like a billion-time defensive player of the year, but you know how like Rudy goes.
I'd put him in the same as Cassell.
I do too. I feel like it's a safe pick.
Okay, I'm fine.
I don't think you're going to pick him and then like look back on it and be like, wow, we really fucked that one up.
Yeah, I'll put him. I like that. I think A tier with Cassell. I probably like Cassell a bit more, but I think they're in the same tier, if that makes sense. So we'll rock with that. Next one on the ringer, Matas Buzelis, and we won't spend as much time on some of the lower tier guys, but like we're in the top 10, so we're obviously going to talk. Matas Buzelis out of G League Ignite. Franz Wagner and Lamar Odom are Kevin O'Connor's comps. Connective playmaker with size. He didn't have a great shooting year. He's on record saying, if I had a good shooting year, I'd be the first pick in this draft. Tyler Rucker quote tweeted that and said, if you're a good shooter, why didn't you shoot good? Which I like a lot. He's a great playmaker. He can kind of shoot. Basically, it says boast upside as a shooter, but a minus is who is he really as a shooter? So it's like that's the big part. But he's a good team defender, et cetera, et cetera. No ceilings in their June 5th. Big board had Buzelis a bit low. They weren't as high. They had him 13th on June 5th. And so he has gone back up draft boards, I would say. He was very high up before the season and then dipped. And then I think people have him rising back up. I have to flip through my million tabs as I try to find my no sleepers video on him.
These Ignite guys kind of like worry me a little bit.
They're weird. They're iffy.
Like it doesn't feel like they get good reps. Like you can never really put too much weight into anything with them. Like Scoot was on G League Ignite last year and he came into the NBA and clearly like was a step slow. And it's not like saying Scoot's gonna suck, but like you could tell like he was like shocked. And the whole thing with the G League Ignite, it's supposed to really prepare you playing with grown men, like whatever.
I think there's just more variance. Like it's the same thing with the NBL guys. Like you just can't compare them to the other college players because they're playing against different competition, and that makes scouting more difficult, which is, I mean, obvious. But no sleepers. Best case for him is Franz Wagner. For both of them, they both picked Franz Wagner as best case for him. Worst case is Nick Batum and or Tony Kukoc. Not a bad worst case for either of those. I think the floor is probably a bit lower because like if that shot's not there and he's a skinnier guy, he's big and long, but if he's getting pushed around on defense at all, which says he's a good team defender, like the shot's not there and he's not a great defender, then what is he gonna just be Josh Giddey? You know what I'm saying? Like it just feels like the floor is a little lower. So I don't know if I'm as high on him. We can watch a little bit of what he does, but let's see.
It is funny. I forget who pointed this out. I think it was like earlier in the season. White guy comps are always to white guys. Just
I guess, yeah.
You can't shake it. It's just so funny.
All right, let's see. He is huge. He is very tall in general. So like fine defense. It was a little awkward, but I don't know. I'm not as high on Modest Buzelis. I think I think he has some of the best upside in the class, but I don't think like that was good athleticism. I don't think it's I think the floor is a lot lower with him. He's
Footwork
staying with
seems
these guys
pretty
well.
decent on defense.
It's not bad. Yeah, I mean defense they say is a good thing, but
If defense is the building block, I like that. Like that's a good thing. And if you can shoot wide and you shoot well, yeah, very true. But
exactly.
I also am a big believer in let's see what happens when the coaches get their hands on them and teach them how to shoot.
It's true. It's true. Okay. Bad.
Brutal spot for you to pick.
Tough.
Just pulled up the worst brick you'll ever see.
I would probably put him B tier. I think he's behind Cassell and Clingan. I think there's going to be plenty worse guys in the first round, but I'm not as high on Modest Buzelis.
Yeah, he doesn't feel like a home run pick as much as his other guys. The shooting looks like it's a real question mark. The jump shot's slow. I like his footwork on defense. It's something that should make you feel confident. His length is good. I liked his recovery on those blocked shots. But overall, it doesn't feel like he's a slam dunk like these other two. Like, as much as I was like kind of like iffy on Clingan, it's not because I don't think he's good. It's just like I don't know how great he's gonna get. It's like Clingan feels like very much like what you see is what you're gonna get.
Low floor, or sorry, high floor, low ceiling, and Buzelis is the opposite, kind of. Mm-hmm. So I think that's fair. Next one we've got is Reed Sheppard. I think he's the best player in the class. That's who Sam was alluding to earlier. He's incredible. I mean, Kevin O'Connor's comparing him to Steve Nash and Derek White. It's pretty good going in to be the fourth best player in the class. He's small, but he's the best shooter in the class. Shot 52% on over 4 threes a game at Kentucky this year. He's a great connective playmaker. Not an amazing athlete, but he finishes well. Always going to get pushed around a little bit because he's just smaller. Needs to improve against ball pressure, whatever. But at his size, being as good of a defender as Kevin O'Connor's projecting him to be, with the level of shooter he is, with the playmaker he is, with the upside for shot creation, like he just screams going to help you right now and could be even better down the line. So I'm very high on Reed Sheppard.
I'm just looking at this picture of Reed Sheppard with the basketball, and like the ball looks real big compared to him. He's 6'3", like he's my size. Like I'm not calling him a little guy or anything, but like all I can think of is like, like those old pictures of like Bob Cousy. He's got the ball, like it looks so much bigger. Draft comp, Bob Cousy.
No Ceilings has Sheppard 5th. Sleepers Media, let's see if I can find him in this mess of stuff. They say best case as Derek White and Steve Francis, both pretty good. They have worst case as TJ McConnell and Demetrius
Jackson. What a pull.
Crazy low. I think that's egregious. But we all know I'm very high on Reed Sheppard. But we can watch some highlights too. He's just like he's a two-way player. He's one of the best. I think he's the best shooter in the class. I just think he's going to end up being the best player in this draft class, and people are going to look down the line and question why he wasn't the first pick. Like I think he should be the first pick. It feels like the Hawks.
Well, it feels like Reed Sheppard has this weird dependence on where he gets drafted, not from him like personal feeling perspective, but just the way we look at it, right? 6'3" guard. If he gets drafted to San Antonio, watch out. Like the absolute weight of all of his skills is going to get magnified. He's going to have far more.
Look how quick his shot is too. Look how quick he gets this up.
Looks like Bob Cousy.
Like it's crazy. But I think the beauty of Reed Sheppard is he's going to be effective wherever he goes because of how effective he is on and off the ball. Like he could go to Atlanta and come off the bench for them and put up points immediately. I don't think it's ideal, but obviously even if they end up trading Trey and or DeJounte Murray, I think he steps in as the starter and plays beautifully alongside either of them. I think if he goes to Washington, he can be an amazing, lead/secondary ball handler and put up buckets for him and help transform their defense. If he goes to who's got the third pick? Houston. I think that's where he's widely projected to go. I think he'll step in as the shooting guard and be a beautiful connector next to all those guys. San Antonio, like you just said, is perfect. I think Detroit. If I'm Detroit, I draft Reed Sheppard and trade Jaden Ivey. Like he just fits in so perfectly with any team that drafts him. And I think he has the potential to be an all-star like in the next 5 years. So I think he's the best player in this class. As
I
I've
love
outlined.
this from you, Jack.
He's so unbelievably NBA ready with upside. He's S tier. He's incredible. He's so
I'm
good.
not gonna fight you, but just know, in the back of my head,
If he's bad, I'll own it. But I think he's gonna be awesome.
for him to be dog shit, but not really. Like
He's
I don't have
awesome.
anything against Reed Shepherd, but just from a pure excitement beaming off of you right now angle, if he's bad, it's gonna be so funny. We're gonna have to come back and watch this.
It's fine. We can. Because he's not going to be bad. He's going to be an all-star. I'm telling you.
I think he's gonna be good too. Like I think the jump shooting is very important, especially in today's game. It's going to allow him to be very flexible off the pick and roll. Like he's going to have an advantage with that. And if he ends up in San Antonio, like watch out. Like if him and Wemby are running pick and roll and he's shooting jumpers, it's going to be a huge luxury for the Spurs. And again, even if you have questions about his defense, which I truly don't know if that's a thing or not, but he's a small-ish guard, not super small, but small-ish. Having Wemby on the back line is pretty helpful.
Mm-hmm. All right. We can speed through a little bit more of these now because I've realized we've been going 20 minutes and spent 5 on each prospect. Devin Carter is 5th on Kevin O'Connor's board. Drew Holiday and Bruce Brown, one of the better defenders in the class, lockdown point of attack defender, super active rebounder, made nearly 40% of his threes after hitting below 30% his first 2 seasons. Ugly form, but effective. Son of former NBA player Anthony Carter. Doesn't handle pressure well. How good is he really as a shooter? Are his couple things. No ceilings. Has Devin Carter sitting at, this is June 5th.
It's like 12, right?
11th at the start of the month. According to Sleepers Media, I've got to find the tab because I've got a million open. They have Devin Carter. Best case, Derek White. Another Derek White comp. You love to see it. Or Eric Gordon. Worst case, Jalen Wilson. The young guys throw me because you haven't seen anything. Or Anthony Carter's dad. It's fucked up. We can watch a little bit of stuff. I like Devin Carter a lot. I think he's a good defender. I think the shot, I don't want to say concerns me because I don't think shooting is absolutely everything, but that not being there is definitely a question mark.
They comped him to his dad. That's so funny.
They did. As a worst case too, which is foul.
So I got to watch a little bit of Devin Carter this year, just like the occasional stumbling into a PC game. Take it with a grain of salt. Like the PC team wasn't the.
Oh, well, just as Sam tries to talk, tough for him. The defense is obviously there. He's small, but like he's the type of guy that can help just transform a defensive backcourt. Offensive upside is something that Hoop Intellect also lists. Like you can definitely see the outline of a strong offensive game. It's just got to get there. I think the shot also has to get there, but he can finish inside. He can drive well. I like Devin Carter. He's also a little bit older, so I don't know how much I love Devin Carter as a like high upside prospect. I think he's probably like Donovan Clingan, like somewhat closer to what you see is what you get, but I definitely think there's upside. But I'll let you continue your point, Sam. The shot is definitely ugly.
I don't love Devin Carter. It might be like a testament to how like PC didn't have a ton of help for him this year. Like he was asked to do a lot on his own, but some of the decision making, like some of the shot taking from him at times was just questionable to me. Like felt like he played a lot of hero ball and it could have been the circumstances, but
yeah,
he wasn't the kind of guy that I was watching these games and I was like, holy shit, like he's an NBA guy. Like he seems fine. Like he's fine college point guard. Like Rhode Island people might get mad at me, but he's just like, whatever. He's like, he doesn't really throw me.
I think the defense being there is so huge though. Like I think, like put it this way, I'd probably stick him in B tier next to Modest Buzelis. Like I'm not gonna put him in A or anything. Do you disagree? Would you put him lower, higher? Are you there? I can't tell if you're frozen. I'm not in the tab. Oh, you froze. I think Devin Carter B tier. You're unfrozen now. Sorry, I'm switching tabs, so I can't tell when you're frozen. I put him B tier. Thoughts?
I think he's C. I think he's a step below.
Sure. I'll rock with it. Fuck it. I'm there. Next guy on the ringer, Tidjane Salaun. No idea how to pronounce this guy's name. I can't open his thing either because this thing is glitchy and doesn't let me open certain ones. Off-ball defense, shades of Chandler Parsons, doesn't leave me thrilled. Salon is 21st at the start of the month. I know he has skyrocketed up draft boards as of late, so take that with a grain of salt, especially. Let me search through
Grain of sugar.
here.
Sweet.
I suppose. Otto Porter is best case for for Sleepers Media. Otto Porter and Tayshaun Prince versus Jan Vesely and Sekou Doumbouya. So he's a very high upside guy, very raw prospect, very unknown range for Salon. I'll put on a couple of his highlights while Sam fights the battles of his internet. But let me take a look here. I know very little about this guy. He's probably I know the fewest about this guy than most other prospects. But he's long, he's lanky, he's got an awkward shot. But
if he's comped to Otto Porter, I can count him to take one championship away from the Celtics, at least one.
It's true. He's got I like the shot form. It's a little bit awkward, but it's high release and it's pretty quick. So I don't dislike it. And he's supposed to be a really good defender too. So I wonder if I skip back, I can see some of that defense. This is cutting off while scoring. Let's see. Defensive upside is there too, because he's just super long. Yeah, he's got freakishly long arms. I like Salon. I think it's a very niche thing where if you're gonna take him, you need to be in a place where you can develop him. Like he feels like this year's Bilal Coulibaly to me. You know what I'm saying? Like
sure,
you see it, but it's not ready. You need to sort of get him ready if you're gonna take him.
Coulibaly, by the way, I think I've seen that he's bulked up a little bit. Getting swole.
Probably. Respect. Yeah. Big boy. WebP file. God damn it, dude. I hate this.
You hate the WebP.
I can't. Well, because I can't download it into places.
I hate the WebP. They should make that illegal.
Salon. I'd probably go B. I'll put him with Bazilis. I like him.
I don't have an opinion because I was in the abyss for this.
Got it. B for Tidjane Salon. And I'm absolutely not pronouncing that correctly, so take that for what you will. Alex Sarr, projected to go first on most people's mock drafts. Kevin O'Connor has him 7th. Nick Claxton, Jaren Jackson Jr., 9.5 points, 4.5 rebounds. Not a good 3-point shooter, but takes a lot of them.
Sounds
this
like
is
another
a weird one
player I know.
because it's NBL. According to No Ceilings, he is first on the draft board, number 1 prospect. No Sleepers, I believe, is very high on him as well. Jaren Jackson Jr. Or Evan Mobley as their top. Nick Claxton as a floor, and Isaiah Mobley as a floor. So one thinks he's got a wider range, I suppose.
Isaiah Mobley is real mean.
Yeah. But I like Alex Sarr. I think the defensive tools are incredible. I think he's one of the best defenders in this class. He can finish well. He's fluid, according to Kevin O'Connor. That's what he has written here. And that's, spoiler alert, that's basically what I've been studying. I've been studying the Ringer and No Ceilings for my draft coverage, and you should too.
That's what I've been doing.
I think he's great, though. I think he's probably S tier, right next to Reed Shepherd.
Well, there's a reason why he's projected to be the first pick, and one of them is fit. Certainly helps that at this time, Atlanta has 2 all-star level guards, and one of them will be sticking around. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't hurt to get somebody who can play big, play power forward, and give you a little extra juice.
Yeah. I think he's a smart defender, an athletic defender. I think he's going to make an impact on that end in the league right away. Crazy athlete. I think he's S tier. I think just everything he projects out to be on the defensive end takes him there. And if he can improve his shot at all, then he has a chance to be an amazing player.
I love the defensive building blocks. I'll be right there with you.
I like it. Next up, Zachary Reese-Shea, Harrison Barnes, and Tobias Harris, comps from Kevin O'Connor. Connective piece, shows signs of being a knockdown shooter, quick decision making, long arm defender. Will need to improve his shooting numbers to prove they're for real. Struggles to score at the rim. No Ceilings has Reese-Shea at 6 on their board.
I see.
6'9". Sleepers, I'm pretty sure Sleepers Media is very low on Zachary Reese-Shea from what I saw briefly, which is funny.
I think anytime you get a Tobias Harris comp, that's actually a little mean.
Well, they're saying Cam Johnson is best case, and Johnny Juzang is best case.
Wow.
I will question if that's the hair. And then worst case is Leandro Balmero and Patrick Baldwin. I'm also pretty low on Zachary Oshae. He can shoot well. The shot's ugly. Like for somebody whose best thing being his shooting, it is not a very attractive jump shot. Like you look at the shot and you're not thinking like this guy is going to be like this awesome shooter 3-and-D guy. Like, yeah, that's you know what I'm saying? Like
You just see that guy like he's doing like the ghost shots like without the ball, and you're like, does he really envision the ball going in when he's shooting like that?
Like I that doesn't leave me very like it's just slow. It's pretty straight. Like it feels like it's gonna get blocked. I don't know. I don't like it. I'm not a fan.
I can't see the highlights right now. Think it's on my end. I can see you, but
Oh,
I'll take your word for it.
I'm pretty sure I'm sharing screen, so I do think it's
You
on your
are.
end,
You are.
unfortunately. Okay. It's a fine jump shot. It just feels a little like in front of his face, like as a push shot instead. I'm not very high on Zachary Oshae. I think he should be okay, but I'd probably put him right down on probably B tier.
C tier.
I think he's a little better than Devin Carter, but I'll put him
Okay.
in C tier right here. Yeah. How many more do we want to do? We've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do you want to do top 10 and close it out?
Do
Or top 10
10.
prospects. All right, let me pick a couple more. This is taking longer than I expected.
Do Dalton Connect.
Connect. I'll do Connect. Dalton Connect.
I like him.
9th. Yep. He's 9th on Kevin O'Connor's board. He's already 23. So there's that. But he's a shot creator, NBA ready shot creator, knockdown 3-point shooter. Targeted by opponents because he's usually the weakest link on defense. I wonder why. Hoping to become more of a shot creator, but needs to prove it against the lengthier defenders. No ceilings. Has Dalton Connect listed as, let's see, 7th on their draft board. And Sleepers Media that's Devin Carter. Here's Dalton Connect. J.R. Smith, Gordon Hayward is the best case versus
There it is.
Furkan Korkmaz and Doug McDermott. So a little bit of a wide range there. Dalton Connect is older, but he does seem like the type of guy who can just step in and give you probably 15 points on the NBA right away. You know what I'm saying?
He had a really
that's what
good
he feels
game
like.
against Purdue in the tournament too. Like he had to score like half of Tennessee's points in that game, and they still they lost, but they almost won. So I like his shot creation. I think if you're a team that feels like you need like a tertiary guy, like you could go for him and like feel good about it.
He shoots it from really high up too.
The defense is something where you obviously want that to be there so you can trust him on the floor. But yeah, jump shot looks good, looks comfortable. It's smooth off the catch. Like I don't have a problem with him. I think he's A tier for me.
Really? You're putting him right next to Cassell and Clingan?
I think he's a good player.
I think he is too, but I just don't know if he has the upside as those guys. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he's more of he's 23 already. I think you're gonna get what you get with him, which is fine. I don't know if I'd put him on the same level as Cassell and Clingan. I'll put I won't
culture guy.
Yeah. Actually, I don't hate him above. You know what? Yeah, I'll give it to you. I'll put him at the end.
Yeah.
Here. I do think he's better than these 3 guys who we have all in B. So I'll respect that. I am tempted to move Cassell up to S with him and then leave these 2 here, if that works for you. Like I think Castle's probably a top 3. I think
absolutely not.
This is probably my top 3 in the draft.
If you move Cassell up, I'm leaving the show.
I'll probably if I had to rank my top 3, I'd do Shepard, Cassell, Sarr. So I think having them S tier is fine.
I think that's pretty fair.
Who else? Is there anybody else that you know is like a top prospect that you think we should do here? Do we do Zach Edey for RJ?
Yes.
All right. Zach Edey, we'll move down a little bit. We're gonna do.
I saw something today that Portland's looking at him with 7.
It's insane. It's crazy behavior. Zach Edey, shades of Valanciunas or Vucevic Zubac, massive center. He's almost 7'4". Has a skill set that has transformed him from a fringe draft prospect to a potential lottery pick. Hard to stop interior scorer, limited defender, lacks a perimeter game, can't really play an up and down high tempo game. Kevin O'Connor has him 15th. No ceilings has him 19th. According to No Sleepers, he is Valanciunas or nah, we're not doing that, right?
Best case Shaq.
We're not doing Shaquille O'Neal. That's egregious.
I can see why.
I want to see their reaction when the other person said Shaq. Let me see this.
We think Zach Edey's best cases off of previous NBA centers, which is why my best case scenario
Oh God.
is a wild one. Hold on to your britches, ladies and gentlemen. There's only one player in NBA history that I think has been an unstoppable physical force of nature.
Oh no.
There's literally only one player I have seen in my life that is an unstoppable physical force of nature. And for a decade plus, there was no answer for him. You couldn't send a double. You couldn't guard him one-on-one. It was just unstoppable physical. There's nothing we can do. He's bigger. He's stronger. He's going to kill us. I think that there's a world where that happens here. And Zach Edey just is bigger than everyone and stronger than everyone and more stamina than any center in the league. And nobody can do shit about it. That's why his best case scenario comp is Shaquille O'Neal.
Head and hands. Look.
I can see where he's coming from, but I
man.
don't think it will happen.
No way, man. Their worst cases are Boban Marjanovic, and I think they both picked Boban, which is fair. I think Edey's fine, man. Listen, it's impossible to look at Zach Edey highlights. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it is impossible to look at Edey highlights and get a real thing. Can I see is there stuff from his combine? He didn't do the combine. Damn. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't look at Zach Edey highlights in college because he is. Because anything you look about Zach Edey highlights in college is because they're all smaller than him. He's a fine player. I think he's a little slow. I do think there is a world where he's fine. I think the way I phrased it a couple months ago when we were going into the tournament is what is 2 months ago? Why is he like 15? Worst case, Luke Cornett, probably going to be Walker Kessler. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's fine. It's fine. It'll be a fine NBA rotation center.
Oh, yeah. You're going to get what you see, guy. Yeah.
Yeah. It just feels like he spent too much of his college career focusing on, I'm just bigger, so I'm going to use that rather than defining his skill set. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think it actually was a growing thing for him because the year before last, right? He was like clowned, like he was awkward. He was trying to use the size as his only thing. But this year he had to learn other things. I mean, they lost to a team in the tournament in the first round with no one taller than 6'6" because they were able to throw multiple bodies at him. He really didn't know what to do. He'd get flustered. This year, Purdue goes all the way to the championship game, loses to UConn. And he did a better job at just being like, okay, everybody's going to guard me every single time. So I have to adjust to that. So I almost feel like he has a head start in the NBA. Not so much to where he's going to be this dominant force, but he does have can read a double team, like can make the right pass, like that kind of thing to him. He's probably in the C tier though.
Yeah, I think he's C tier, maybe even D tier, but I think just because his floor, I think is higher. I'll throw him in C. Other guys we didn't go over here which we're not going to spend an hour on this. I think Rob Dillingham is a fine prospect. I think he'd probably be up there for me. I think Ron Holland, I'm a little lower on, just through my own research, etc. I would probably put Dillingham at like the bottom of B, and Ron Holland probably in that C tier. Cody Williams, I'm pretty high on. I think he's a pretty dynamic win. Same thing with Topic, regardless of his ACL injury. I think the best prospect that we didn't look at today that I would probably have in that bottom of A tier, I really like Cody Williams. I think he's going to be really good. So we'll see though. I'm the furthest thing from a draft expert, but let's go to the
I'm further.
Okay, you're right. My bad. Let's speed through the rest of our NBA stuff because it's really just quick hit news. Scottie Barnes is getting a max contract from the Raptors.
Makes sense. Fits
right?
what they're trying to do. They're very high on him. Like they just traded for two younger players and Quickly and RJ Barrett last season. So keeping Scottie Barnes for the long term makes a ton of sense. That's going to be your centerpiece. And now you're starting to trickle in the young pieces to play around him, except they just don't have a draft pick this year. Which kind of sucks.
Yeah. I really like that Raptors team. I don't think they're going to be amazing, but I think they can make the play in. They're going to be fun. Team. They're going to be fun. Yeah. I think
that's
they'll be
hate
fun.
Speech.
You are unable to think of anything outside the Celtics, and I'm fine with it because that's the pod. But like being a fun team is a good thing when you're the Raptors.
No, it
That's all I'm
is.
saying.
It is. I mean, it was the Celtics were a fun team with Isaiah, and we all loved it. It was great. But if somebody calls you a fun team and you feel like you're competitive, it's really mean.
Well, the Thunder were a fun team.
See,
but
that's
they were also
fucking
competitive.
mean.
But they can do both. There is a world where you can be both. I think fun comes from a place of not expected to be good, but you are good, and
Exceeding expectations.
The Thunder's
yeah.
not expected to be good was a good playoff team versus a championship team is the difference.
Yes.
But yeah, no shit. They're gonna extend Scottie Barnes. Kenny Atkinson is officially the coach of the Cavaliers. I'm actually surprised at this. I thought it was gonna be James Borrego, but this is a fine fit. I don't know. It's weird because it feels like we've all painted Kenny Atkinson as this, oh my God, he's going to get the most out of his guys, like a bad team into a playoff team. I'm curious to see if he can do that with a playoff team into a better playoff team. Do you know what I'm saying? So he's a fine coach, though. It's fine.
It's surprising to me that it took this long for him to get another job after Brooklyn, especially after like he was let go from Brooklyn.
He did get another job, technically.
What team was he the coach of?
The Hornets, and then he backed out. They hired him.
I forgot all about that. Okay.
Yeah. Hornets hired him, and then he backed out like a week later. And then
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it still stands. Like I'm surprised. Like aside from that, he hasn't gotten much love, like much attention. Like especially after like he wasn't let go for doing a poor job in Brooklyn. It was just like these stars want Steve Nash to be their coach, so that was what had to happen.
Yep.
I think it's good for Cleveland. I think he is a good coach. I was hoping the Pistons would get him, but the Pistons are now going to target James Borrego. According to
also good
reports.
I think that's also good. I think he's also a good coach. Like you think about the Hornets, obviously they've had injury issues. James Borrego led them to their first above 500 season in 6 years, and then they fired him. That's crazy. It's insane.
Hornets just can't get out of their way, man. Like
Hornets are morons. They got Charles.
Those Mid-Atlantic teams. Prayers up. Washington, Charlotte. Nobody wants to be a part of that.
Tough.
Even Philly.
Next thing. Caleb Martin testing free agency. Cool.
See you later.
It is nice that he might not be in Miami anymore. I wonder how much he's going to get. I wonder if Miami tries to keep him. I don't know.
The story is he's declining 7.1 in guaranteed money from Miami to go try and test the waters. So he has to feel like he's got something out there.
He should get more. Like there are teams with more cap space than that. There are teams with enough cap space that should also want Caleb Martin that should feel comfortable giving him at least like 10.
It's all fun and games. He's in Philly.
Philly, I think has enough and should want him. I think like OKC, I wouldn't complain getting a Caleb Martin on the team. Even like the Spurs, who have 20 mil. Like, yeah, I'm down. He can be my power forward, but I'm wondering if it's just a matter of he just re-signed him for more money.
Could be.
Philly
hope
too.
He goes west. Hope he goes west. But it does feel like the Heat could be in for a rough summer. Like there's a lot of smoke coming around that Heat organization right now. Like the Jimmy stuff. Now this. Good luck to him. Not really.
All right. Next thing is Paul George potential trade incoming. This is from Brian Windhorst of ESPN. And he notes that, quote, Paul George could opt in and get traded by this weekend. That's something that's going to come to a head in the next day or two. We're going to see some action that very quickly after the draft. Interesting.
Could be true. The draft is usually the start point. Teams know who they have coming in to join the team. It's kind of weird that this is all being discussed as a trade, though.
Did you see that the Sixers were pivoting away from Paul George?
I saw conflicting stuff on that. I think we had it on the last sheet, and then we kind of axed it for time.
Yeah,
so there was the Sixers pivoting, and then Jake Fisher was actually like, well, I wouldn't necessarily count them out until he's literally on another team.
Yeah, this screams to me like, oh, we're definitely not doing that. We're definitely not. But then they're going to just sign him anyways. I think he'll end up in Philly or LA. Imagine he goes to OKC. He says, fuck
is that
you all.
The thing?
No. I made that up. But we'll see. Interesting. I don't think he ends up anywhere else unless he like goes to Orlando because he wants to be in Florida.
Orlando's like that third like lurking team, like peeking their head around the corner.
Orlando's
seeing what's going on,
praying they have a chance, even though they know they don't have a chance. Last thing, a Bucks potential roster shakeup. We sped through the NBA section because it was really all just housekeeping, like tidbit news stuff. Rival execs, this is from Michael Scott of Hoopsite. Quote, rival executives have come away with the sense that Bobby Portis and Pat Connaughton are available on the trade market if Milwaukee can make a notable win now upgrade. Both players, however, have been mentioned as possible trade candidates in the past, and nothing has come of it. Portis finished as Sixth Man of the Year finalist for the second straight year. Also, Brook Lopez is being shopped. You are not incorrect in that. I forget where exactly it came from, but apparently they want to play a more versatile style of defense, and so they're exploring a potential trade ideas for him. That was from Kevin O'Connor and Jake Fisher. Jake Fisher said they're gauging the trade value of Lopez. Kevin O'Connor reported that they want to play a more versatile style of defense. So combine those is the report you have.
Lopez makes $20 million a season.
I think, yeah, like just under 20. They're not going to trade him to Boston.
I don't think they will, but I'm like thinking of where what team.
You know, it would be the funniest thing on the planet. There's no pathway for it to happen, but they trade Brook Lopez for like Jeremy Grant, and then Portland trades Brook Lopez to the Celtics. Run it back. Run it back.
That would be a little funny.
I don't think there is a pathway for it to happen though, because he makes 23. The Celtics would have to trade. Yeah, they cannot do it. But
what teams make sense for this?
The Pelicans.
In Milwaukee has Valanciunas.
Ingram.
And then they play Giannis at center.
Well, Ingram for like Lopez and Connaughton plays. And then you could play Giannis at center, yeah, and Bobby Portis as your backup. And then the Pelicans can run Brook Lopez with Zion, stretch it out, get a pick maybe back.
I kind of wonder if OKC's a spot for
OKC's
Lopez.
not bad. I like that too.
Because they need that little extra size with Chet. Like they would benefit from Lopez. This also feels like a Bucks getting out at the perfect time instance here too. Like it's the old Patriots like do a year early instead of a year late.
I think they're already a year late almost, but it's not bad. Past that, I don't know. I think the Pelicans make a ton of sense.
Orlando?
I don't hate it, but I don't love it. Like he's 36. Like what's that
Lakers.
age? Grizzlies. Him and Jaren.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like you could probably do what, like Luke Kennard and Brandon Clark and a pick for Brook Lopez and be happy with it. I don't hate that. I don't know. We'll see. You want to go to the rat list here? Wrap it up.
Yeah.
You got anything? What you got?
Rat list, the lady's new neighbor. So my girlfriend moved to a new apartment like 2 streets over from where she used to be. Amazon delivered the package to the wrong house. The new address is a half. It's half. Have you ever heard of this? A half on the house number?
No.
So the house number is half. So I'm pretty sure they just brought it to the house that is the whole number. But anyways, Amazon sends a picture of like where they dropped the package off. And unfortunately, like across the street, there's like this townhouse. There's 2 sides to it. So we go over, we knock on one of the doors, and this lady comes out. We're like, hey, we think the Amazon package might have gotten delivered here. Did you see it? This woman was the personification, like the human form of a shaken up Coke bottle. Like that was the energy she had. She was like a mess, really weird, like spastic vibes. And she was like, no, like I haven't seen it. Like, and then we were like, oh, like, yeah, no, we just got this picture and like it looks like the side of this house. And she was like, you don't need to accuse me. Like she was getting really, really defensive. She was really spazzy.
So she definitely took it.
I don't know if she took it. I think she might have just been weird.
I think she definitely took it. She's getting defensive like that.
I thought she took it at first, but then at the picture, like, I think it was dropped off to the opposite side of the house. Like, I don't think it was to her side of the house.
Okay.
But she was acting really suspicious. So she gets the rat list because she had really bad energy for no reason. Like, we weren't accusing her. Like, there was no accusations thrown. It was literally like, hey, we have this picture. We're just looking to see if anybody has the package because it was delivered to the wrong place.
Yeah. Did you get a refund for the stuff?
She has to wait till 5 p.m. today because it could still turn up.
That's obnoxious.
That
That's
sucks. She was
stupid as
devastated.
hell. Let's see. Rat list. This isn't really rat list because nothing was bad, but like the idea of it could be rat list. So I went golfing yesterday with Henry and my stepdad, and the group in front of us just had a baby with them, and it was totally fine, not cry, like happiest kid, did not like literally no impact at all. But like the idea was a rat list, but it was just funny. This dude, like the image of him like putting on his golf bag as they were walking, they weren't in the cart, like put it on. And then he just had his friend pushed the carriage and he just picked the baby up. And so he's just carrying his golf clubs and like carrying a child with him as he's golfing. And again, no crying, literally did not hear the baby at all. So it was totally fine. But it was just like, what the fuck is happening? Right?
It's a ratless court.
Exactly.
I feel like,
well, because
I do think it depends on the baby's behavior. Like, I feel like he was playing roulette out there with the baby, seeing if the baby would behave or not. Unfortunately for him, it all went well. Like, I don't even know if the baby being there would be a problem for you guys, but the group he's playing with, that thing starts crying. That ruins your day at golf. Isn't golf supposed to be like a fun, relaxing day and you got a baby crying?
Well, it's supposed to be, unless you're bad, and then gets frustrating real quick. But it was fun. Golf's fun. The baby was fine. It was an interesting decision. Like, all I could think of was like, this dude definitely told his wife he'd watch the kid today, and they're still like, all right, let's go, Timmy. We're going golfing, motherfucker.
His wife's like, hey, remember this thing I have? And he's like, wait, what? No, I'm doing this today. And she's like, too bad. You gotta watch the baby.
He watched the baby. He did. Just brought it with him.
Rat list. People at the gym. I might have done this one before, but it happened today. People at the gym who, so when people do like rest periods at the gym, I can understand like they have like a timer on their phone.
Yeah.
Rat list people that have.
Oh. Wow. We'll never know Sam's rat list. How sad is that, guys? Comment down below. Oh, hello. Welcome back.
It was me. What were you saying? Comment. You're ratless?
I was going to say, comment down below what you think Sam was going to say, but you came back before I could finish my sentence.
Nothing worse than it going off out loud. Because it goes off out loud and then you hear the alarm tone. And this doesn't really apply to you because you don't wake up to alarms.
I've been better. I've been a lot better. The playoffs.
Hearing the alarm, it like is like a thing that makes me mad. Like it's like the
your
reaction is mad.
Like, what's your sound?
I don't know. I don't really want to pull it up either because I don't want it going off. I don't want to hear it.
Mine's the actual alarm. Like the ba ba.
Mine says it's radar, but I don't think that's what it is.
Let me see. Wonder if I can find it. Can I test stuff? How do I test stuff?
I think my phone automatically changes it sometimes, to be honest with you. That's it. I fucking hate that.
It's radar, yeah. It's radar. Mine is what is mine? Mine is nope, not that.
As I say, no wonder you don't wake up. Yeah. I hear that radar out in public. I do the Arthur fist.
Oh man. Yeah.
It's like
not
Pavlov's dog. It's just like that sound means misfortune for me. It means I have to wake up.
I don't think I have anything else. Haven't done much. I mean, I'm not going on like out and about anymore because I'm just home for the off season, hanging out, which is a good thing. I'll have stuff this weekend because I'm going out this weekend, but until then, I'm chilling. I don't got shit for you. I'm sorry. Golf was the only thing I've done.
I don't really think I have anything right now either.
That's all. Sorry. Boring days, chat. Sorry, everyone watching and listening. We can wrap there, though. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to How About Them Celtics. And yeah, we will let Sam wrap it up.
Hey, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you don't miss any of our daily uploads. We're coming at you with draft content leading up, so we want to make sure everybody is up to date, up to speed with all the prospects that the Celtics could pick. We also have these full pods Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps when the season's on, the morning after each game, and other videos to keep you busy in between. We also are doing streams So keep your eyes peeled for those. We don't really know what the summer schedule is. I don't know what the fuck is going on with streams, but they will happen. We promise. You can find us on Spotify and Apple too. The pods and recaps will be there for you. So those will go right into your feed if you follow us. Leave a 5-star review. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. Shout out to all of you that did so today. It's a really fun time to send in emails with the summer. Send your thoughts, discussion topics, whatever it may be. It's a great way for us to do community content. You can find us on socials at How About Them C's. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook's the name of the pod. Streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter is at Jackson1NBA. Mine is at Sam LaFrance. And it's at France.
Tic-taco. Come on. Taco.